7 things I wish I knew as a girl about period. But I didn't know that the first period will actually look somehow different from what I was taught. I was taught that period will have a flow of 2 days to 4 days or 5 days, and it's a heavy blood that comes out from the female vagina. But I didn't know that at my first period I may see something that doesn't look very red. It looks very brownish, and I remember being very scared. Is this actually the period? Why is it brown? What is the problem? Am I sick? And everything. And it wasn't flowing, it wasn't heavy, it was little. I saw little drops of blood, brownish blood, for about 3 to 4 days, and then it stopped completely. Then the next month, little drop of brownish blood for 3 to 4 days, and it stopped. And then the 3rd month, I now started something that looked more like the period that I was taught about. It flowed more. I didn't have any pain and didn't have any cramping that I've been hearing little by little from friends. So it was really a surprising and scary experience, and I wish I was prepared more as a girl, that the first period might be different for everyone, and for some people it might be this kind of color, and it will change over time. The second thing I wish I knew as a young girl about period is knowing my menstrual cycle. In the beginning, I thought that once I have my menstruation every month, so if my period comes on the 1st of January, the next day that I should expect it is the 1st of February, and the likes. And you can imagine the embarrassment, the shame, because while I'm expecting my period on this day, it comes another day when I'm not prepared, and everything that goes with it. The menstrual cycle is calculated as the first day of the menstrual period. That's the first day you saw your bleeding until the next day that you see the bleeding. So some people have thought that it is from the first day that you started seeing the bleeding until the day before. But what I have seen consistently, according to so many research, is that the menstrual cycle is the first day that you see the bleeding, assuming the first day that you saw the menstrual bleeding is on the 2nd of January, and then you started again. That's the first day you see the bleeding again is on the 30th of January. So the menstrual cycle is actually from the first day of the bleeding, which is on the 2nd. So you count this as day 1, and then you count day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, like that, until the day that until this 30th day, and not the day before. So that is the menstrual cycle. So if you do this for a couple of months, then you now know your average. Maybe your average is 29 days or 30 days or 28 days. 3 is managing my periods symptoms. I wish I knew that people experience periods in different ways. Some people might experience cramps and pain and weakness and all other symptoms in their menstrual cycle, but that doesn't mean that as a person I may have to experience all of that or even some of that. I remember that in my first few years of period, I do not have any form of signs, symptoms or whatever. I just needed to make sure that I know the date and be able to manage all of that in that time. And I wish I knew that it is okay to be different. I don't have to experience it in some ways for it to be normal. Number 4 is choosing the right period product. I wish I knew that it is best to choose the period product that actually works for me and that I can sustain over time. In school, I had so many other ways that I can use during the period. So some people would suggest some form of reusable pants, some would suggest using menstrual cups, some people would suggest using tampons, pad and all of that. But I noticed that pad actually works for me because the tampons I could not use. I'm going to share my experience with tampon in another video. So if you're yet to subscribe because I believe everyone will benefit from that video. And then some people suggest so many other period products that I don't have to use all of that. Once I find the one that actually works for me, that I can use consistently, that I can afford, because of course the period is a long time thing. So having something that is reliable, that I can afford, that I can use over and over is just perfect. I don't have to use what other people are using or what looks cool. Number 5, and I believe is one of the most important one on this list, is that emotions are involved in period. I noticed as I'm growing up as a girl that my emotions kind of change during my period when I'm getting my period. For instance, I become more irritable, less patient, and just maybe generally weaker than normal. So, and this happened over time. It wasn't when I started as a young girl, I didn't notice any of those symptoms, but as I continued to grow up, I noticed that during the time that I'm getting my period, few days before my period or during the period, I noticed considerable changes in my emotions, and it is perfectly okay. A lot of people, as far as it doesn't linger, it is not to the extreme that you cannot do anything, then it's perfectly okay, because this is what so many people actually experience. So what I have understood is that this emotion is as a result of the hormonal changes in your system during that time. So once I know that this is actually associated with maybe my period going on, then I'm more conscious about people around me, how I respond to situations. I wish I knew this earlier enough. 6 on this list, and I feel like everyone should actually be aware of this, is I wish I knew that it is okay to talk about period comfortably. A lot of people are so scared about even talking about what is going on in their body, such as period, and they end up as a young girl getting stained, end up with some other form of infection as a result of not managing the period so well, because you're not talking to the next person, or scared about so many things. Maybe you're scared that what is happening in your body is not normal, but you don't want any other person to know about it. So I wish I knew that the average woman around me that is my age or older than me actually knows one thing or so about period, and they are not going to look down on me, make me embarrassed or something like that when I talk to them about it. So as I continue to grow and be more comfortable about talking about my period, telling people I'm on my period, I need to do this, telling my family I'm on my period, I need to rest or something like this, the amount of support I got during my period time actually increased. So if you're someone that is still shy about talking about your period, do not be shy. The worst thing is that they will just say they don't have maybe a pad, or they can't help you or something like that. So but in most cases, people will go out of their way to actually tell you, okay, please use this toilet, oh, use that, I have an extra pad, and all of that. And this can save you a lot of stress, a lot of embarrassment, and all of that. So talking about period is definitely okay. If you feel that something is wrong and you feel like you don't trust anybody around you, you have healthcare professionals around you that you can talk to. You can go to youth centers, you can go to community health centers, you can go to your doctor if you are afraid of anything concerning getting your period or what is happening in your period or too much pain and all of that. But 7 on this list is something that is encouraged for every young girl, everybody around there, is knowing what happens at each stage of the menstrual cycle. So not just the period that you get, but what happens until you get the next period, especially knowing your ovulation day, knowing your safe days, knowing when you have the high chances of getting pregnant and when you don't have the chance or decreased chance of getting pregnant and all of that. So these are very important, because during the mid-cycle you may get something like spotting. Some people get spotting, some people get like lower abdominal pain, and that period, I remember that as a young girl, I was so scared. Well, I know sometimes even parents will be scared. Parents that do not know about this thing, they'll be thinking, is it appendicitis or something like that? So knowing exactly what happens throughout the cycle, knowing that there's a possibility of getting low abdominal, cramps, or having spotting during ovulation and all of that, will save you a lot of stress, a lot of fear and all of that. But remember that anything that is above normal, too much pain, too much cramps, spotting excessively, menstruating when you're not supposed to, anything outside normal, you need to speak to your medical professional. But for you to know what is normal and what is not normal, you need to know what is happening throughout your cycle and know it consistently for some months and know what to expect. So that way you are more in charge of your body, not just looking after your body, but knowing when exactly to speak to a professional, and you can potentially, save yourself from a lot of disaster. So guys, if any of this resonates with you, let me know in the comment section which particular one you wish you knew earlier at a very younger age, and what it could have saved you. If you're new to this channel, this is Lynda's SOS, Lynda's School of Self-Care. Here I share information on how you can look after yourself as a young girl. I've done this for so many years, but I've decided to share all of this in this YouTube channel. Remember that the best thing you can do is to share this with that young girl around you that maybe may not even have phone, may not have access to the internet, but need to know this information, that need to have this information at their fingertips so that they'll be able to have a better life ultimately. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.